Hello and welcome back to another episode of Anything Goes with me, Richard C.W. Mason, and this is the first part of a two-part series, and today I'm talking to Ethereal UK, and we're talking about the music business and what it's like to make music in 2025. Welcome, Ethereal UK. So how long have you been making music for?
I've been making music since I was 12. And I'm going to be 45 this July. And I only started taking it seriously when I was 31, though, and then more seriously when so I stopped experimenting with other projects in 2016 or 2018. And then I've been Ethereal UK ever since. I guess you could say it started as a hobby, and then gradually became a passion.
Yeah, I think similar age to me. I think it was about 12 or 13 when I knew I wanted to write and record music, and then there wasn't much at my school. I don't know about your school. We had a music department, but there wasn't many music clubs or anything. Was there much at your school when you was at school?
I wasn't. I don't really remember being that much into music at the time. I mean, right. I was just getting into The Offspring and Green Day and a lot of skate punk bands. And when my music teacher was doing this song called "Walking on the Moon" by the Police, I thought, "Gosh, that's really boring, isn't it?"
Oh, I think I had quite weird musical taste as a youngster. Well, compared to my friends, I liked Tori Amos, Bjork, and sort of stuff that a lot of my friends didn't. They were into sort of Green Day and Red Hot Chili Peppers and things, and that I like Bjork and Tori Amos. I found Tori Amos really fascinating, and I thought she had a beautiful voice and the way she wrote songs, and well, she still does. But yeah, I've always had quite a eclectic mix taste in music, really.
Yeah, I mean, like for example, for me, when the very first song that I heard on the radio when I was 7 in 1987 was Linda Carlisle's "Heaven Is a Place on Earth," and then I heard "Come a Chameleon" by Culture Club. And that was on my father's radio back in Sweden, by the bed when I just woken up. I'll never forget it as if it's like last week, and then obviously had to move here to England, and we went across by ferry back then, not by plane. And my stepdad did a mixtape of Motown, Bill Withers, Bob Marley, Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross, artists like that, and then went more into like Brian Ferry and Led Zeppelin and Ian Dury, and it was great. And then I found myself like really getting into Michael Jackson and Kylie Minogue, and then I got into punk rock music, like the American stuff. I never really got into the British punk until I was until I was a lot older, like at the age of 21 or something. And then I got into ska punk, and then it evolved into like a lot of like heavy rock. I was also into a lot of 90s dance that I was exposed to from the age of 12, especially when I was at school. And then after the heavy rock and metal stuff, when I was going through my depressed stage, started listening to electronic music, and that's how I got into Björk. I first had I heard Happy Birthday by Sugar. Is it
Sugar
Cube?
Cubes. Yeah,
Yeah,
Sugar.
yeah. I was
That's
like,
how I
that's a.
first got into Bjork. That song,
Huh?
that song got me into Bjork.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah. Yeah. Hit. Did you like? Is it called Hit?
I
She
can't
had
remember.
Birthday. There was Birthday and Hit, wasn't there, by the Sugar Cubes?
Yeah, I
Remember
need to listen to that.
the one that went, "This wasn't supposed to happen." I was
No,
hit by your love. Have you hit that one?
I don't think I've heard it. No.
Oh, you
Mm.
should search it out. Have a look on YouTube. Type in Sugar Cubes Hit. It's really good.
I felt that we were more exposed to great music back then because we had MTV, you know,
Yeah,
and Super Rock and Top 40 Radio 1 on the radio. And I remember having one of those tape cassette recorded radio type
yeah,
things, and I'd record the top 40 straight onto there. The
yeah,
one songs I heard that day was "How Bizarre" by OM. Is it OMD?
yeah. Oh, it's
Yeah,
OM. Yeah, how bizarre. How bizarre.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Do, 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 do. Yeah, I think
Mhm.
back then in the 80s and 90s, music, I think it seemed a bit more special because I don't know, it just didn't, you saw a song on TV or heard it on the radio, and if you liked it, you went and bought it at the record store,
Mm.
Woolworths or wherever you bought your records, tapes or CDs in the 90s. And nowadays, I think it's really easy accessible, isn't it?
Yeah, but like this just reminds me like I bought a CD off for one of my singer-songwriter friends because before before I became a singer-songwriter myself, I was always supporting um, unsigned artists.
Mm,
I'd go and I'd buy their CDs, and I still do that now.
yeah,
And so I bought the CD, and I already had a CD player, portable CD player that I bought from Timu, and I put and just taking off the plastic wrapping,
mhm,
and opening up the CD, taking the CD out, putting it into the CD player, brought me back to the 90s again. It was lovely.
yeah. I don't think,
Yeah,
well,
ceremony, like a ceremony, Richard.
there's a couple of supermarkets in my town that do still sell new CDs, but it's mainly near Christmas. It's like the Now
Mm,
ones, and they don't sell many. It gets smaller and smaller each year, the amount of CDs and DVDs they sell.
mm.
One day it'll be zero, but there's like the computer games, some CDs and some DVDs, but it's getting less and less because
Mm.
people are streaming, and various streaming services and things for films. It's quite sad, but do you think it'll ever come back? Do you think we'll ever have record stores again and go
Oh,
and
definitely. In vinyls have made a comeback.
vinyl's sort of coming back, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have a cupboard full of vinyl. The record
Mm.
player I did have was broken, so I need to get another. But I've got a big collection of vinyl, and I do keep adding to it. But do you think we'll ever have CDs and you know
Oh,
DVDs?
definitely. But otherwise, there wouldn't be HMV and
Well, yeah,
other stores. I mean, I went back to Thailand last year, and it was so sad because all the DVD stores and CD stores had all gone.
really.
Yeah,
Oh,
I totally forgot about that until we touched on the subject just now. And I was thinking about, oh, that'd be nice to get some new Thai pop music
yeah.
compilation albums for my CD
Well,
player. And I just
we
remembered now, like all those shops are gone.
we had a record shop, but it only lasted about 5 years, if that. Woolworths was the main, the record department at Woolworths, where I spent my pocket money every Saturday.
How's
Yeah.
the Willies?
Woolies. I used to, well, they used to sort of know me by sight. They used to know what I was in there for, what sort of music I wanted. And she'd be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, the new Tory album's just over there." And I'm like, "How did you know?" Uh, I well, growing up, sort of when I really started to get into music, sort of from the age of 10, I think I liked quite pop stuff, Bananarama. I liked electronic music such as Depeche Mode, Erasure, bands like that, and then some Madonna, some Kylie, things like that. Michael Jackson, did get into him a bit. By the mid-90s, I did quite like the history, because he did a history album where it was one CD of new music and then one of old music, wasn't it? I remember I liked Scream and quite a lot of them new tracks, and I've still got that double CD somewhere. And I went to see Michael Jackson in concert in, I think it was 1996 or early 97. It was the History Tour. Went to Sheffield Don Valley Stadium.
I was screamed and cried so much.
Oh, it was really busy. Although they've knocked the Don Valley Stadium down now, I don't think there's anything there. It's a shame, because they used to have quite a few musicians, acts on and bands and things there. But like, I think, well, I first started to properly get into music sort of after school, writing music anyway. I'd wrote songs, just lyrics, while I was sort of 13, 14, 15. And then when I left school, I started to experiment with other musicians, really.
Okay.
When did you first get into working with other people, or?
Yeah, the first person that I worked with was with my brother. He pretty much got me into the music in the first place. Nowadays, he doesn't play guitar at all. He just, he just has it there as a decoration in his room, a bit like my stepdad. But yeah, they both influenced me to get into the music, and I'm so glad that I'm the one that is continuing that legacy. My back then, my brother started a skate punk covers band. So we did stuff by Green Day, stuff by Rancid, Melancholy, Swedish punk band. It's great times, and yeah, I can do all that whenever I feel like doing it, and that's what I love about being a full-time musician.
Yeah, I think you have to try different genres, don't you? I started off, one of the first bands I was in was like a Nirvana type grunge band.
Yeah.
And looking back, it wasn't me, but I wanted the experience.
They were called Bush, were they?
Sorry?
Your band wasn't called Bush, were they?
No, we were called Under.
Okay.
Under. They chose the name. They had a lead singer before I joined, and then they just changed the name from, I can't really say it on here, but it wasn't a very uplifting name. But they changed to Under, and then they had this other singer, and then things didn't go right. He left, and I don't know. It was odd replacing somebody to start with, because there was like, they had a couple of their own songs that they wanted me to do. Some of their old stuff they just trashed, and then we did quite a few cover versions, like a Nirvana. And then as soon as I joined, I had all these songs that I just took with me. They were just lyrics on paper at the time with a bit of a melody. And they helped me bring these songs to life. And before we knew it, we had like an album's worth of stuff and stuff to gig with. But I did, obviously with it being a grunge band, I performed these songs a lot differently to what I had in mind when I originally put pen to paper. But it was an experience, yeah. Yeah.
You just remind me there, I sometimes wonder why I never thought about doing covers at all with with any of the bands. Probably because I started off in a covers band, and I was just determined to stay focused on originals after that. I was I tried to form a band back at university for a while with my solo stuff, and then I decided to rock it up a bit when I met a friend from the band that we were in, called the 16-bit Consoles, and then Silicon Sun stemmed from that, and we did a few gigs together, London, Southampton stuff, and based in Portsmouth, and we were a house band when we co-organised a night called Jacked Up and Live at Punana. I don't know if that was a franchise back in the day, but there was one at Guildhall Square in Portsmouth, and it was so nice, like having to do, putting on live music night. It's like every Tuesday or something, and just artists supporting artists.
Yeah,
Like we're doing now.
definitely. Yeah. Good. Although the last year or so, I've took a back seat. I think it was the lockdown. I got back into. I'd had like a 10 or so. I think I told you we spoke before, and I told you I'd had quite a long gap. I think it was about 10, 14 years, something like that. And then it was the lockdown. Got back into making music. Some friends bought me a really decent mic for Christmas, and I sort of made my home little studio at home, and I thought, yeah, do you know, I'm enjoying this again. I'd sort of gave up on it. Do you know what I mean?
That makes me smile a lot.
Yeah, I just gave up on it, and I still loved music, and I listened to a lot of music, but I'd gave up for 10 years. I think I just felt like I'd outgrown it, but I got back into making music in 2020, and
Okay, good.
I got the bug for it again. I've recorded a covers album, an 80s covers album. Did that first, and then in late 21, 22, I started doing like my first original album for, like I said, about 14, 15 years, and it was really good. Yeah, got some radio play on local radio.
Oh, good. But where does one release the covers albums then?
I didn't really online because you have to apply for like permission for the songs and things, don't you? If you're going to release Spotify and that. I can't be too hard because I've seen a couple of TikTok artists, not to sound awful, but I've seen a TikTok artist, and they're a bit of a, what's the word? Novelty sort of thing. She's a bit of a novelty act, put it that way. And she knows she is. She says she is, and she's released cover versions. So I don't think it can be too hard to release a cover version. But I think you do have to apply for rights and things, or notify them, and you tag them in the listing, when you're listing the track. But it's not something I've done. I've not.
Too much legal hassle for me to do, to do that.
But if you do a good cover version that's totally different, and could be a big hit, might be worth doing.
Well, this is the thing about for example, Florence and the Machine. When if I ask people, I swear that if I ask someone like if they know Florence and the Machine, all I can say is, yeah, I know the song there, You Got the Love, which isn't even her song, and I'm like that as someone who's a very avid fan of Florence and the Machine, I'm like, but what about this song? What about that song? What about that song?
I like Dog Days Are Over.
Yeah.
Probably my favourite one. She's got such a fantastic voice, but you don't see them as much now, do you?
I don't think so, no.
What we need is more live, more terrestrial TV music, like we used to have Top of the Pops, the Chart Show, and things like that. I think we
Okay,
need.
what was your opinion of Top of the Pops? I mean, I never knew. I think I was just too young to realize that they were miming and
Well,
making.
that was part of the fun back then. In the 80s, everybody mimed, you know, on Top of the Pops. Very
Yeah,
rare that anybody sang live. And they used to take the mickey that they were miming. You know, they used to, the singer used to play the drums and, you know, things like that. But I think it was 1991, they moved to the EastEnders studio and they said, right, we want everybody to sing live if you can, if you're comfortable with. If you don't want to, then you can mime. But we're advertising this as live, live, live now, and it really shook things up.
yeah.
Like I watched a clip the other night, and Two Unlimited were on, and I quite like electronic music. Two Unlimited were on, and she really struggled with the song. And I've
Which
seen
song you Unlimited well known for? I can't remember. I remember liking them a lot.
No, 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 no. There was popular
No,
well known for that.
yeah.
Twilight Zone. Ready for This. Yeah, Get Ready for This.
Get ready for this.
Yeah, they were known for loads of hits in the 90s, but she really, I think Twilight Zone. It was Twilight Zone she struggled with. But I've heard her sing live. She's done some like 80s and 90s revival, and she can sing good live, but she struggled with that one song.
Mm.
But it really shook the Top of the Pops scene up in the 90s. I loved it in the 80s. Every Thursday evening, 7 o'clock, sit round the TV and see what was, in the charts, what new songs were coming out. And then in the 90s, still loved it in the 90s. And then I didn't watch it as much in the late 90s. And then by the 2000s, I think by 2003, it just got to Christmas. They put it on at Christmas time, just Christmas Day. And then that finished, I think, probably about 5-6 years ago. They stopped putting it on at Christmas Day.
Yeah, I think Musicians Union had something to do with it, with cutting it.
Well, I think it was for the best not doing the Christmas Day one, because the rubbish. I'm not even going to give them any airtime. The one rubbish novelty Christmas act that thought it'd be funny to get to number one 5 or 6 years running just by singing some auto-tune song about sausage rolls used to just make my blood boil.
I'm not surprised.
I used to think there's decent artists out there who've been writing all their life, and some auto-tuned, crappy sort of, novelty social media influencer gets to number one again. And I was just, when it got to Christmas time, I thought, are they going to be number one again? And it was like an insult to proper musicians like yourself and other people who have been writing music and work hard to write and record their albums, and scrape money together to get the money to record albums. And then they just release some rubbish and get to number one because they've got 100 million followers on TikTok. It's stupid.
Now, is that a case of it is what it is, or is that a case of it is what you make it?
It is, yeah.
What do you think? Which one?
In what way? Sorry.
Is it a case of it is what it is, or is it a case of it is what you make it?
Tough one, that, really. It's what it is, or it is what you make it. I don't know. I think it changes for me. Some days I'll go with one and then go with the other another day. What about you?
For me, it is what you make it, because I'm a very strong believer about mindfulness and about mindset, and just staying spiritual, and if you find things a bit overwhelming, step away and do something else, and then go back to it. I've started to remember and realize as well that when we have no expectations, we get no disappointments. But also, when we're not expecting anything, things happen.
They do, yeah.
and you're like, wow, yeah, it gives you that wow factor. You're like, oh,
Mm.
that's a nice surprise.
I
And who
sent,
doesn't like
yeah,
this?
I sent one
Yeah.
song off from an album I've been working on to, well, I sent, I think, two or three off to this, local radio. I didn't expect to hear anything back because I didn't even know they did like an unsigned slot. And they played one of my songs like 7 times.
Mm.
It's 7 weeks in concession on this like unsigned slot. And
7 weeks. Well,
yes,
congratulations.
in concession. And I used to go and see some friends on the night it was played, and I was like, I'm going to be on again tonight. And it was
Mm.
like, it became like a bit of a, just like a running joke at the end that I was going to be on every Saturday night on the radio, the same song, because they said it was a really uplifting song and, it just was a real feel good song. And I was like,
Yeah, BBC introducing seemed to like a lot of electronic music.
yeah. Do you know,
Yeah.
I haven't sent anything for a while, but I must send some of my more recent stuff to BBC Introducing because they've played
Mm.
quite a few tracks as well.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, I must send some more to them. But it's like exploring different avenues. And I think, like I said to you last time we spoke, that I'm quite happy to I do it as a hobby now.
Mm.
I enjoy writing the lyrics, putting, you know, words on paper and then turning the words. I turn them into a rough demo. And then I've worked with musicians in my town, musicians online to sort of bring these rough ideas, these demos to life.
And
And
on that, have you heard of ghostwriters?
no, ghostwriters, no.
So this is something that I experienced. I mean, someone that I met on Facebook as a ghostwriter, and they haven't told me who they've worked for, but I get the impression that they worked for some big artists, and they moved from Southampton to Spain, which is, I guess, and seem to make a good living out of it. And
Right.
then I was busking in Lymington possibly about 5 years ago, maybe less. And this guy, he kept my contact details, and he'd been trying to get me to be on his album, and um, we eventually tried it out in Totten on the something like 2 or 3 months ago,
Hmm.
and he paid me for it, and he basically wanted to see what my vocals would sound like, my chest voice, not my ethereal falsetto voice, which is
Hmm.
my you know. Um, and it was mainly a lot of rock stuff, and I wasn't feeling it, and I was being told how to do the how to sing the melodies and stuff, and it just felt really claustrophobic,
Hmm.
and in the end he decided to get his producer to sing those songs instead. But I'm pretty sure that this guy is a genuine ghostwriter.
Wow.
He said that after this album is done, he's going to send it to singer songwriters and artists and that, and see if they want to buy those songs off him and make them their own. I'm pretty
Right.
sure that's good. Isn't it?
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, kudos to him, but I would never do that.
I think in the music industry, you can never have enough contacts. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
It's just the more people you know, the better, isn't it? It's,
Yeah.
yeah. I think, oh, as far as like studios and, studio time and things.
End of part one. Please join us in part two when we talk more about making music and performing music live.